Fort Benning, Georgia, the sprawling military installation where the United States Army had been transforming civilians into soldiers since 1918. In the suffocating heat of June, Echo Company, 2nd Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, began another cycle of basic combat training with 63 fresh recruits who barely knew how to stand at attention. Among them was Declan Hayes. At 31, he was the oldest recruit in the company by almost a decade. Most of the others were 18, 19, 20, fresh out of high school or community college, their faces still soft with youth. Declan looked different, weathered, tired, like someone who'd lived more life than his years suggested. When Drill Sergeant Harrison Vance called roll that first morning, his voice cutting through the Georgia humidity like a blade, Declan's response came late, a beat behind everyone else's sharp. "Here, Drill Sergeant." "Hayes, you deaf or just stupid?" "No, Drill Sergeant." "Then why'd you respond like you're half asleep?" "No excuse, Drill Sergeant." Vance moved on, but the damage was done. The other recruits had noticed. The old guy was slow. By day 3, Declan had become the company's unspoken punching bag. He couldn't do push-ups as fast as the younger recruits. His runs were slower, always finishing in the back third of the formation. During drill and ceremony, his movements were stiff, almost mechanical, like someone relearning how to march rather than learning for the first time. "Hayes moves like a robot with a dead battery," Private Roman Torres whispered to his bunk neighbor, Private Jonah Kim, during a rare break. "Dude's 31, Jonah replied. "Probably had 3 different careers already and failed at all of them. This is like his last resort." "Why join at 31? That's desperate." In the corner, Declan sat on his bunk, methodically cleaning his rifle, slowly, carefully, with an attention to detail that bordered on obsessive. He heard every word but said nothing. His face remained neutral, his grey eyes distant. "You think he'll make it?" Roman asked. "No way. Drill Sergeant Vance is going to recycle him first chance he gets. Watch." But Drill Sergeant Vance didn't recycle him. Didn't even seem to notice his struggles, which was strange because Vance noticed everything. A crooked name tape, a spot of rust on a rifle, a recruit's eyes wandering during formation. Yet when it came to Declan Hayes, the drill sergeant's usual razor-sharp corrections seemed muted. He observed, but he didn't intervene. Week 2 brought the Combat Lifesaver course, basic medical training that taught recruits how to save lives under fire. The class gathered in a sweltering classroom as Sergeant Alice Morrison, the medical instructor, demonstrated tourniquet application on a training dummy. "You've got seconds to stop arterial bleeding," she explained, her voice clinical. "Hesitate and your buddy dies." Simple as that. When it came time to practice, Declan paired with Private Beckett Riley, a cocky kid from Texas who'd already decided Declan was dead weight. "Try not to kill me, old man," Beckett muttered. Declan said nothing, just focused on the tourniquet in his hands. "All right, simulate a femoral artery hit," Alice instructed. "High and tight, 2 inches above the wound. Go!" Declan's hands moved, not with the fumbling uncertainty of a beginner, but with practiced precision. Tourniquet positioned, windlass rod twisted, time elapsed written on the practice band. 8 seconds. Alice checked it, her eyebrows rising slightly. "Good. Proper placement. Proper tension. Have you done this before?" "No, Sergeant." "You sure? Because that was faster and cleaner than most first-timers." "Just following instructions, Sergeant." She moved on, but Beckett was staring. "How'd you do that so fast?" "Practice dummy's not complicated." "Yeah, but you moved like, I don't know, like you'd done it before." "I haven't." Later that week came land navigation, learning to use a map and compass to find points in the woods. Most recruits struggled, wandering in circles, frustrated and lost. Declan found all his points within the time limit, moving through the forest with an efficiency that seemed at odds with his clumsy performance in other areas. "How's the old guy finding them so fast?" Roman asked Drill Sergeant Vance during a break. Vance, who'd been watching Declan's route on a tracking device, didn't answer immediately. Then, "Maybe he's good at following directions. You should try it sometime, Torres." But his eyes stayed on Declan, thoughtful, assessing. Major Harrison Wolfe commanded the training battalion, a 48-year-old career officer with 26 years of service and eyes that had seen things he'd never talk about outside classified briefings. He made it a habit to observe training cycles personally, walking through barracks, watching drills, getting a feel for the recruits who'd soon become soldiers. On a Thursday evening, he found Drill Sergeant Vance in the company office, reviewing trainee files. "How's Echo Company shaping up?" Wolfe asked. "Good group overall. Few standouts, few duds, mostly average. Standard cycle." "What about Hayes, the older recruit?" Vance's hand paused on the file. "What about him, sir?" "I saw his paperwork. 31 years old, no prior service, enlisted as 11B infantry. That's unusual." "It is. Background check came back clean. Too clean, actually. Work history shows 3 years as a commercial fisherman in Alaska, 2 years as a long-haul trucker, 6 months unemployed, then enlisted. But there's a gap, 2015 to 2018. Nothing on record. People have gaps, sir. Not gaps that big without explanation." Wolfe sat down. "I ran a deeper check, discreet. Called in a favor with someone at DOD personnel. You know what came back?" Vance met his eyes. "What, sir?" "Redacted. The entire period is classified under a compartmented program I don't have clearance for, which means Hayes did something somewhere that officially never happened. A lot of guys have classified backgrounds, sir. Not like this. This level of compartmentalization, we're talking about deniable operations, the kind where if you die, your family gets a story about a training accident and no body comes home." Wolfe leaned forward. "And there's something else." During his intake physical, the doctor noted an unusual tattoo on his right shoulder, small, discreet. A symbol the doctor didn't recognize but thought was significant enough to mention in the file. Vance was quiet for a long moment. "I've seen it, sir, when he was showering after PT. And? It's a raven. Black ink, maybe 2 inches across. Wings spread, holding something in its talons. Looks like a compass rose. No text, no unit designation. Just the bird." Wolfe's expression changed, recognition flickering across his face. "A raven with a compass. You know what it means, sir." "I know what it might mean. And if I'm right, Hayes isn't here because he's desperate for a career. He's here because whatever he did before destroyed something in him, and he's trying to rebuild." Week 6 brought the culmination of basic training, the Forge, a grueling 4-day field exercise that tested everything recruits had learned. Sleep-deprived, hungry, pushed to their limits, the recruits would either break or prove they'd become soldiers. Echo Company moved through the woods in tactical formation, conducting mock patrols and responding to simulated enemy contact. Declan was assigned to Private Amelia Chen's fire team, 4 recruits who'd spent 6 weeks learning to function as a unit. On the second night, exhausted and running on fumes, the team encountered a scenario: simulated casualty with catastrophic bleeding, enemy contact imminent, leadership chain disrupted. The other 3 recruits froze, their training colliding with exhaustion and stress. Declan didn't freeze. Amelia, security left. Roman, security right. Jonah, cover rear. His voice was different. Not the hesitant recruit who fumbled through drills, but something harder, more certain, command voice. "I've got the casualty." They moved automatically, responding to authority they didn't consciously recognize. Declan dropped beside the training dummy, hands flying, tourniquet high and tight, pressure dressing, airway check. 20 seconds, by the book, but faster than any recruit should have been. The observer controllers, senior NCOs evaluating performance, exchanged glances. "Contact right," An OC shouted, firing blanks. "Suppress and move," Declan barked. "Emilia, lay down fire." "Roman, help me move the casualty." "Jonah, prepare smoke." They executed like they'd been doing it for years, not weeks. The scenario ended with the casualty secured, the team in defensive position, textbook tactical movement. Afterward, as adrenaline faded and reality set in, Roman stared at Declan. "Where did that come from?" "What?" "That, the command presence, the tactical calls, moving like you've done this before." "I haven't." "Bullshit." Roman's voice wasn't hostile, just confused. Nobody moves like that without experience. Before Declan could respond, Drill Sergeant Vance appeared. "Hayes, with me." They walked away from the company into the darkness beyond the tree line. Major Wolf waited there, hands clasped behind his back. Declan came to attention. "Sir," Wolf studied him in the dim light. "At ease, Hayes. We need to talk." "Yes, sir. Take off your shirt." Declan hesitated, then complied. In the moonlight, the tattoo on his right shoulder was clearly visible. The raven with its spread wings, the compass rose clutched in its talons. Wolf stepped closer, examining it. "Where'd you get this?" "Private tattoo artist, sir, before I enlisted." "Don't lie to me, Hayes. I know what this is." Wolf's voice softened. "I didn't know for certain until tonight watching you in that scenario, but this confirms it. You were Mercury program." The night seemed to hold its breath. "I don't know what that is, sir." "Yes, you do. Mercury program, unacknowledged special access program, run by JSOC between 2012 and 2019. Small teams conducting deniable operations in denied areas. No uniforms, no dog tags, no official record. The kind of work where success means nobody ever knows you were there." Wolf pointed at the tattoo. "The raven and compass, that's the unofficial symbol. I've only seen it twice before, both times on operators who officially don't exist." Declan's face remained neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. "How long were you in?" Wolf asked quietly. "Sir, I'm not asking for details. I'm asking how long you carried that weight." Silence. Then, 3 years, sir, 2015 to 2018. "How old were you when they recruited you?" 24. "Jesus." Wolf shook his head. "They pulled you in young. What happened? Why'd you leave?" "Program shut down, sir. Budget cuts, congressional oversight, political changes. We were given separation packages, new identities if we wanted them, and told to disappear back into civilian life." Declan's voice was flat, emotionless. "Turns out that's harder than it sounds. So you enlisted, regular army, regular infantry, starting from scratch?" "Yes, sir." "Why? You could have gone private sector, made triple what the army pays." "Because I didn't want to keep being a ghost, sir." For the first time, emotion crept into Declan's voice. 3 years of my life don't exist. No records, no acknowledgement, no brothers in arms I can talk to, because officially we never served together. I came back to nothing, no purpose, no identity, no proof I'd ever done anything worth doing. He gestured at the training area behind them. "This? Basic training? Regular army? It's real. It's official. When I graduate, I'll have a uniform with my name on it, a unit I can claim, brothers I can acknowledge. I'll exist again." Wolf was quiet for a long moment. "You're struggling with the training." "Yes, sir." "Why? You clearly have the skills." "Because I learned how to operate in the shadows, sir. How to kill quietly, disappear completely, trust no one. But I never learned how to be a regular soldier. How to march in formation, how to shine boots until they're mirrors, how to function in a system where everything's regulated and official." Declan's voice cracked slightly. "I'm trying to unlearn 3 years of survival and relearn how to serve properly. It's harder than I expected." "And the mockery from the other recruits?" "Deserved, sir. I'm failing at things they excel at." "You're not failing." Drill Sergeant Vance spoke up for the first time. "You're adapting. It's not the same thing." Graduation day arrived with the kind of perfect weather the Army loved. Clear skies, 70 degrees, a light breeze carrying across the parade field at Fort Benning. Echo Company stood in formation, dress uniforms crisp, faces forward, the transformation from civilian to soldier complete. In the stands, families cheered, parents, siblings, wives, girlfriends, all there to celebrate the achievement that 63 recruits had earned through 10 weeks of blood, sweat, and determination. Declan stood in the third rank, no family present. He'd told them not to come, that it wasn't necessary. The truth was more complicated. His family thought he'd been fishing in Alaska for the past 3 years. Better they believe the lie than know the truth. Major Wolfe stood at the reviewing stand as the companies passed in review, each soldier marching with the precision that came from endless repetition. When Echo Company approached, something unexpected happened. Wolfe stepped down from the reviewing stand, walked directly to the formation, stopped in front of Declan Hayes, and saluted. The parade ground went silent. Majors didn't salute privates. It violated every protocol, every tradition. But Wolfe held the salute, his face solemn, his eyes meeting Declan's with the recognition of someone who understood what couldn't be spoken aloud. Declan returned the salute, his hand crisp despite the confusion in his eyes. "Private Hayes," Wolfe said, loud enough for the company to hear, "on behalf of a grateful nation, for service that cannot be named and sacrifices that cannot be acknowledged, thank you. You've earned the right to start again." He dropped the salute, executed an about-face, and returned to the reviewing stand. The parade continued, but whispers rippled through Echo Company. What was that about? Why did the battalion commander salute Hayes? After the ceremony, as the recruits, now soldiers, gathered with families and prepared to move on to their advanced individual training, Roman approached Declan. "What the hell was that? Why did Major Wolfe salute you?" "I don't know," Declan lied. "Yes, you do." Roman lowered his voice. "All this time we thought you were some washout trying to find purpose, but you're not, are you? You've already served. Somewhere, somehow." Declan met his eyes. "If I had, I couldn't tell you." "Can't or won't?" "Both." Declan grabbed his duffel. "But I can tell you this. Every joke you made, every time you thought I was incompetent, I deserved. Because I was incompetent at being a regular soldier. You guys knew how to function in the system from day one. I had to learn it. So thank you." "Thank us? For what?" "For treating me like everyone else, for not giving me special consideration, for helping me remember what it means to be part of something bigger than yourself, where everyone has a role and everyone matters." Amelia joined them, Jonah right behind. "You're going to infantry school next, right? AIT at Fort Moore?" "Yeah. So are we. Same class." She grinned. "Maybe you can teach us whatever it is that made you so good at those tactical scenarios." "I'm not good at them." "You are. You just hide it under incompetence at everything else." Jonah extended his hand. "Whatever your story is, Hayes, I'm glad you're coming with us. We need people who actually know what they're doing." "I don't know what I'm doing." "Yeah, you do. You just haven't admitted it yet." Later, as the sun set and Fort Benning prepared for the next training cycle, Declan found Drill Sergeant Vance outside the company headquarters. "Drill Sergeant. Hayes, congratulations. You made it." "Thanks to you, Drill Sergeant. You could have recycled me a dozen times." "I could have. But Major Wolfe asked me to give you space to find your footing. Said you were dealing with something most soldiers never have to face, learning how to be visible after years of being invisible." He was right. Vance pulled something from his pocket, a coin, bronze and worn. He flipped it to Declan, who caught it reflexively. It was a Mercury Program challenge coin, unofficial and impossible to verify. The raven and compass on one side, no text or identification on the other. "Where'd you get this?" Declan breathed. "Major Wolf served with a guy who served with you. Different team, same program. The guy didn't make it. Killed in Syria in 2017, officially a contractor death. Before he died, he gave Wolf that coin and told him to pass it on if he ever met another Raven." Declan closed his fist around the coin, feeling its weight. "You're not alone," Vance said quietly. "You think you are, because the program's gone and the guys you served with scattered. But we're out here, former Ravens trying to find our way back to something real. You just have to look." "How many?" "I've met 4, including you. Wolf's met 7. There are more. We find each other eventually." Vance put his hand on Declan's shoulder. "Welcome back to the visible world, Hayes. It's not always easier than the shadows, but at least you get to exist in it." 3 months later, Declan graduated from infantry school, top of his class this time, no longer hiding his competence. He received orders to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, assigned to the 101st Airborne Division. The night before he deployed to his first official unit, he stood in his barracks room, looking at the 2 items on his bunk, the challenge coin from the program that officially didn't exist, and his new dog tags with his name, rank, and blood type stamped in metal. Both were real. Both mattered. The shadows had given him skills, but taken his identity. The light was giving it back. He put the coin in his pocket and the dog tags around his neck and walked out into a world where finally, officially, he belonged.